Gonna be a video about a Detroit I Become Human, right? So a Detroit I Become Human is a kind of like a interactive story based decision game, right? So it is heavily impacted by the choices you make like in the game, right? It does have various outcomes depending on the on the sequences, etc. The story of it is very emotional. It is very futuristic, right? There are some philosophical questions about AI consciousness, right, etc. So first off, like the overall gameplay of Detroit I Become Human, it is very similar to that of Beyond Two Souls or An Until Dawn or like a Heavy Rain or even like an LA Noir. But Detroit I Become Human, right? It does have a QTE segments, right? QTE, the fast QTE segments, or the segments where you gotta hold a button in order to open like a door, right? The gameplay does have his flaws, right? Sometimes I can be a little, slow. There's a lot of slow walking areas, and if you're not a fan of, if you're not like a fan of, like those slower pace games, that'll be a big drawback for you. But overall, though, like the best part of the gameplay comes in when you make a decision. So choices. So you play as three different characters, and in this world there are androids, right? So androids are like these kind of like these humanoid robots, right? And they have been implemented into the job system in this a dystopian future, right? So there's androids in farming, androids in detective work, androids in secretary work, janitor work, etc., gardening, etc. So like as you play like as these three different characters, right, you get to make choices, and the choices will impact certain outcomes. More so like the choices, playing through the game, the choices does impact the relationship you have with a specific character, right? For example, Connor and Hank, right? So Connor is like the a detective android, right? And Hank is supposed to be like his a crime partner, right? Temporary a crime partner, and depending like on the choices that you make, the dialogue choices, it's gonna impact the chemistry you have with that person. Also, going back to the QTEs in certain terms of if you're not fast enough, some of the QTEs are they actually there's a certain time limit on them. So if you don't press them quick enough, you'll run out of time, and there'll be you will be hit by something. Other stuff too, like in the game too as well. Like there's a certain pathway decision, so you can choose a certain pathway, right? For example, there will be something where you protect this character, or you can escape, or you go like another way, right? So depending like on how you choose, right, and which way you choose, it's gonna impact the outcome. Going into like other stuff like into in the game as well, right? So the because the game is a three different protagonists, right? Each protagonist is kind of has obviously a different point of view, but they go different paths, and through their perspective, I get to see the story of this dystopian future. So basically, like I said earlier, androids, they're basically kind of taken over in terms of, well, not taken over, they've been implemented into the employment economy system, right, in this dystopian Detroit. And because of that, humans are getting unemployed, and it's causing a lot of chaos. But the deeper story of it, is AI consciousness, right? Can AI, our computers mimic human emotion, right? And the androids, they're being oppressed, right? So they're being abused and punished. Not so much are punished, but they're kind of treated as slaves, and they do kind of become self-aware, and they do fight against it, near the end of the game. But the story through, it is a very deep, emotional story, especially through someone like a Kara, right? So Kara, she's the housemaid, and she helps the a daughter, escape from the abusive dad, right? So it is very emotional. It does get very deep. The presentation. One of the best parts of this game is the presentation in the game in terms of just the cutscenes and the dialogue, and just seeing the characters interact, right? It feels so real and immersive. But the story of the world, right? So the story is very much like that, and then I see that too. Is like I see like androids or these robots taking over the economy. Hopefully that doesn't happen, right? But anything is possible, right? Anything is possible, right? And you never know what's gonna happen 20, 30, 40 years from now. Going back to what I said about the presentation of the game is very nice. Visually, it is very nice. Great sound design, right? Each they have their own scan mode, and then yeah, it sounds pretty realistic. Other stuff too, like in the game, in terms of what's it called again? In terms of presentation. So like I said before, the visual presentation, but the game developers use actual like real people, like for certain characters, as face models, right? So some of these characters, they're face models, like for certain actors, and it was pretty cool, right? So Hank, I believe, I can't remember his name, but Hank is, he's been acting, like a long time, right? The actor who played Hank, right? So yeah, it is always very interesting. And I thought for some reason, for some weird reason, I thought Marcus, the face actor from Marcus, was the same face actor in a Callisto Protocol, but it's different. It's a different guy. So, presentation wise, it is a great. In terms of there are some cons with the game, right? There are some cons. Like I said earlier, slow walking moments, invisible walls, and weird, awkward movements. And there are some stuff like slow. So if you let's say if you're about to open a door, and you gotta kind of lead the a right stick this way, so you gotta kind of push at the right stick like in a certain direction in order to achieve this action, right? So yeah, it is weird, and yeah, it does have a lot of slow, like these slow interactables in the game. um you know yeah, are just weird. Now also as well, like in terms of once you make a certain decision in a certain area, you can't once a checkpoint is basically done, you cannot go back, right? There is no a restart at a checkpoint, right? Now the a great thing about this game is that it has high replayability, because the decisions in the game, as with a lot of these interactive decision based games, you can make a certain decision, change it up, and see how the outcome would turn out differently. So depending, how you played at the first time is going to differ from how you played at the second time and the third time, etc. And you can choose. So for example, you can choose to be more hostile, or you can choose to be more calm, or you can choose to be more direct or friendly, like in certain situations. But so you can always go back and replay. I think you can go back into each individual chapter and replay specific chapters, right? So yeah, it has very high replayability if you're into this type of game. Extra stuff in the game, collectibles, like magazines, and you do get to see like the future tech of this world. There's like this cool holographic kind of computer screens, or no, sorry, magazines. They're pretty cool. In terms of other stuff in the game, so there's character showcases. So a character showcase where there'll be a certain character from the from the actual game, and you can once when you unlock it, so you can actually unlock the what you call it again. You unlock their a character showcase, and it actually shows you like a quick backstory to that person. For that a character, it is pretty cool. Also videos as well. You can unlock videos. It does add extra lore into the world, and kind of there are pre-game art. Kind of like this cool kind of art. What do you call it again? Concept art. There's like a concept art showcase for a pre-game characters and models, etc. So overall, it is a very kind of it is actually one of the best interactive movie games I played. Right, it is definitely probably my favorite one. Right, good thing too, and it is not super long. It's not super long. It's probably 7 to 9 hours, 8 to 9 hours, right? Compared to some of the other ones, Beyond Two Souls, which can actually go longer than that, right? but each sequence, depending on how you play, isn't very long. It's not, uh, you know, like on average, right? Each kind of chapter isn't very long, right? So yeah, at Detroit, I become human. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.